Afternoon VC. All right, so this is going to be a big one. I don't think I've done a video like this before, but we're gonna go for it. So this past year, hell of a year for collecting. I just think it has a lot to do with the pandemic. I think a lot of people were just selling records that normally don't get rid of their records. So a lot came in. I probably had, thanks to Discogs, you can kind of monitor what you've been up to. So I probably had around 500 records come in the door, and I sold 135 records. So what we're going to do, out of those 500 records, I'm going to show you about 50 of the rarers, or my favorite stuff that came in through various means. So a lot of records, so we're going to get into it. First is a record that eluded me for years and years and years and years and years before I even started collecting vinyl full time. This is one I wanted to have on vinyl, and finally found a copy, and it's beautiful. And that's the Pupils on the Discord Records label. This was never reissued, so only originals exist and not many. And this is Asa Osbourne and Daniel Higgs from Lungfish, duo effort here, and this is one of my favorite records of all time. I've had the CD forever, and these are not cheap records anymore because it hasn't been reissued, but this is Daniel Higgs is the best songwriter to ever live, in my opinion. Just amazing, and an Ace Osbourne, very repetitive guitar, but done brilliantly. Very grateful I got to see Lungfish on their last tour, but the Pupils was just a one-off side project that they did. And God, I don't even recall the year on this, but I do have that record finally. That one's probably the one I waited the longest to find. Next, I got some punk records because I got deeper into punk this year than I've ever been, and I really love Alex's video that he did, highlighting local brick and mortar shops, or brick and mortar shops in general, and supporting them during this whole deal we're living with. And this record I got from Radio Wasteland up in Michigan, thanks to the help of Steve Carlson. I believe it's Jim that runs that shop. Extremely nice guy. They purchased one of the most incredible punk collections ever seen by man, and I've been able to get a couple pieces of it, and this was the big one. And it's Black Flag Damaged, original pressing with the parental sticker on SST Records, Unicorn Records. Henry Rollins. What more do I need to say about that? That was a big one. Next, I found this with John here locally at one of our conventions, and I absolutely love this record. That's Dead Kennedys, Frankenchrist, original pressing of this on Alternative Tentacles from 1985. And I absolutely love this cover. I believe they actually got sued over the cover. Yeah, the Michigan Lancers. Good Lord, look at these idiots. But last time I said that, someone stepped up to the plate and told me that they give a lot to charity, like to children's charities. That's fine. These guys are still idiots. And then next, another one from Radio Wasteland, another big one. Could be my favorite punk record ever. And that's Dick's Kill from the Heart. And it's an original on SST, in fantastic shape. This is killer. Just a wild record, but just awesome guitars. Awesome jams from Texas. Dix, Kill from the Heart, OG. Love this record. And then I think the last punk record I'll show will be this one I got from Dom at Seeking a Thread to help with the roof. This is Minutemen, Doubles and Nickels on the Dime. Original on SST as well from 1984. Double LP. All the songs are like a minute long. Just brilliant stuff. Yeah, I did not have any Minutemen, so to start here is a hell of a good start. So yeah. Next, I can't remember where I got this record, but this was a big one. This is Milton Nascimento, Club de Esquina, double LP. This is a Brazilian original pressing. One of the most beautiful records ever made. The guitar playing on this is out of this world. And this is not in the best of shape, so I got a really good deal on this. I mean, just, I probably got this like 800 less than what it freaking goes for. It can go for a lot. Next, I got this record from Cuba. I ended up breaking down and going, okay, I'm going to order a record from Cuba. And it was cheap, but it's one that I've been looking for years, probably 6 years. And it's a Grupo de Experimentación Sonora, ICAIC, number 4. And this is fucking just killer Cuban jams. Hard to describe. You need to check this one out online. But this cover is one of the coolest ever made. Cause yeah, that's a freaking wild looking one. Original Cuban pressing. I'll show you the label on this. On the Arieto label. And the seller threw in a 7-inch on the Arieto label too for free, which was really cool. So that was an awesome find. Next, we'll move on to some of the best reggae finds of the year for me. Since I got deep into that too, this is one from Foundation in Orlando, which is Tim's local shop. I called them up and they were very professional, awesome, did a great packaging job. Presenting Iroy. This is an original on the Trojan label from 1976, or maybe it's it could be like a second press actually. I think but it is a UK press, stereo press. A couple really good tracks right at the beginning. Red, Gold, and Green, Pusher Man. Interesting deep vocals. Great roots reggae. Next, this actually came from Jamaica. This is an original of Augustus Pablo, East of the River Nile, on the Message label. Another country I had never ordered a record from. This was one of the best packaging jobs in the history of packaging jobs. I mean, just totally professional. This is on Rockers Production. What's going to be said about this? This is an iconic record. Next, this is one that I was inspired to pick up from Dom at Seeking a Thread's video on the 99 Records label, and it's Singers and Players War of Words. Found this in DC, and this has got fucking Crucial Tony on guitar, which is key. And then, last but not least for reggae, Yabu, Conquering Lion, Vivian Jackson. Vivian Jacone. And yeah, great roots reggae. I really dig Yabu. This is Jamaican pressing. This I think I got from Carolina Soul, maybe. of all places. But rare to find it with this cover. Dope stuff. Next, one of the only kind of rare electronic records that I picked up, that's Terry Riley, Persian Surgery Dervishes. Really dig this. I need to delve more into Terry Riley. This is the only record of his I have, but I really love this. Now, Stunty made sure to tell me that this is not a sufficient item. There is something rare that, of course, he owns. So, yeah. And then this record is one that I had hoped to find when I was in California because they had it at one of the shops we checked out. The Record Box, I think was the name of the place. I could be wrong, but it was gone. And I ended up finding a copy, and I can't remember how, but Bombay the Hard Way, Guns, Cars, and Sitars. And this is a soundtrack for this movie on Motel Records, and this is just wild, dope stuff. DJ Shadow's on drums on some of this. And this is a freaking insane record. There's the inner, which is really cool. I'll show you the record. Is got the wildest labels you've ever seen. For some reason, I know it's cheap because it had a check mark on the labels, or on that label. This plays great. It's pretty much like new. Alright, so that was that, and it's got the insert and everything. This is another one that I've been looking for since way back. Again, before I really was collecting records. Because I had the CD and it got gone. I think an ex-girlfriend took it. Next is one I recently got in the mail. Robbie Basho, The Falconer's Arm 2. This is an original pressing on the Tacoma label. Definitely into his guitar playing now. Vocals, not so much. But yeah, that was a cool find. That came from Permanent Records in Los Angeles, who gets a lot of my business. I definitely kept their doors open during the pandemic. Next, this is one that I randomly got on Discogs, and when I sent the money, it went to Mark Rapp. And Mark is in our Facebook group, and that was just bizarre. So he's my friend, and I texted him. And I was like, dude, I'm the one that got you this record. And he's like, oh, hell, I would have hooked you up. But, yeah, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by Gila. Krautrock. Masterpiece on the Warner Brothers label. And this is a German copy. Not a first press, but I think an early press. It was a good deal. Florian Frick on Mellotron and grand piano. It's quite something on this. Great record. Classic stuff. Next are a couple of records from Noble Records. I also help keep their doors open. And I usually have to stand in line for hours for the rares there. People are nuts. But yeah, Flower Traveling Band, Satori, original. This was Dylan's personal copy before he got a better copy. This is unreal Japanese psych rock. There's your inner. And yeah, that's on Atlantic. I don't remember the year. Probably early 70s. And then also from Flower Traveling Band, Made in Japan, the original copy of this in the box, everything. I think he had 2 copies of this somehow, or whatever. I'm sure he's got a copy himself, but that was a big one that I got. That one kind of flew under the radar at the shop a little bit, I think. Because I was there that morning. No one was really going after it, I don't think. And this one, I'm going to flash this really quick. you didn't see that. This is the Jimi Hendrix Experience Electric Ladyland. Not a first press, but I think a second UK press. Fantastic. I will show you the inner. Did stand in line for this when he picked up all those Hendrix records recently. On Polydor double LP. One of the main Hendrix records I was missing. This is probably one of the rarest records that I got this year. This is also came from Dylan's personal collection. That's Papo's Blues on Music Hall from Argentina. This is the white label promo. He got an original pressing, not a promo, but in way better shape. So he sold this to me. Now this one a lot of people were trying to get a hold of. I was first in line, so I got it. And then he said there was like 20 some people after me that asked about it. Another, sticking with Noble Records, the Stooges, Hunt Electra original, not a first press, but original year, I think 1969. I could be wrong on the year, but yeah, early press of this. Not in the best of shape, but had to get it. Next, sticking with rock, this is John at Digital Gramophone's fault for being a pusher man. This was Tip Top by Melvin's Stoner Witch, original on Atlantic, on the colored wax. Not one you see every day on the pink. The green and orange Atlantic label. Classic Melvins. Anytime they play in the area, my friend Lee, he's from London, North London, England. It's his favorite band. We go to see the Melvins. I've seen them a ton. There's a lot of good footage on my channel of Melvins, front row center. That if you want to go back on my channel, check it out. Next, this was the biggest find of my trip to Los Angeles, and this came off the wall at Amoeba Records. And I love what Sherv said about it. He's like, yeah, you got everything you need right there. And he's not wrong. And that's the UK limited edition Motorhead No Remorse in the leather bag. And this does just have everything on it. Ace of Spades. You name it. That was definitely the find of that trip. Great trip. One of the best of my life. This record was a big one. I didn't have hardly any Soundgarden on vinyl. And here we have an original of Super Unknown. This I have yet to open. I can't bring myself to do it because I have this in like 18 other different formats. This has the bonus track She Likes Surprises. Yeah, OG. This is a big one. Super Unknown, my favorite Soundgarden record. So that's all the kind of various stuff. So next we'll get into a big chunk of jazz. The best jazz finds of the year. There's quite a few, and that's what I normally purchase. Rashida Lee and Frank Lowe Duo Exchange on Rashida Lee's Survival label. This I got early this year in January. A free jazz duo monster of a record. Got Rufus from John Shakai, Archie Shepp, J.C. Moses, and Don Moore on the Fontana label, original Netherlands press. Normally I can only find Japanese presses of this series. This one's in Netherlands. I don't recall where this came from. This was a big one for my Billy Harper collection. The Billy Harper Quintet, Destiny Is Yours, on Steeplechase, one of the most difficult Steeplechase records to track down. That Rick Ballard Imports sticker, and I think this was from Carolina Soul here in Durham, North Carolina. Next, this was Carolina Soul as well. Prince Lasha Quintet featuring Sonny Simmons, The Cry, a contemporary, original press. Some great stuff here. Not easy to track down anymore. This one came off the wall at Noble Records. Mel Waldron Trio, Free at Last, on ECM. This is a German original, so this is the first ever ECM. This is ECM 1001. This is getting more difficult to find, and this is a fantastic album. Mel Waldron, not as you expect him. What year is that? 1969 that was recorded. Next, one of the biggest finds of the year for me. This was a true grail. GL Unit, Orangutan, on the EMI Odeon label from Sweden. A very large free jazz ensemble here with an iconic cover. Yeah. Stockholm. Got into collecting ESP discs like crazy this year, as you all know from watching my videos. One of the bigger ones was the Noah Howard Quartet, original from 1966. Very, very free jazz record. Noah Howard is insane. And sticking with free jazz, one of the rarest. I got this from Euclid in St. Louis. The Peter Brotzman Sextet Quartet Nipples. And this actually folds out. It's very delicate, so I'm not going to mess with it. But Evan Parker on tenor, Derek Bailey guitar, Fred Van Hove piano, Han Benink on the drums. I love Han Benink, one of my favorite drummers of all time. That was a huge one. This record's beat to shit, but it was super cheap. Permanent Records. Harlem Bush Music, Taifa, Gary Bartz, and To Troop. Fucking love this record. Oh my god. This is really, really good. On the Milestone label, original, but it was super cheap because it's torn up, but it plays okay. Next, another big one from the trip in California. This came out of Glass House. It walked in the door, and Alex, Motor 247, he spotted it and said, "Hey, do you have this?" And I said, "No," and they ended up selling it to me. Original stereo press of Henry Grimes' Trio, The Call, on ESP disc. This is one of the more difficult ones to track down on the label. So that was kind of a crazy happenstance. There it is. Next, some Bob Shop stuff from earlier in the year. Outspan #1 on the FMP label from Germany, which is Peter Brotzman, Mr. Van Hove, and Mr. Benink. That we were just talking about, and then also Outspan #2. Can't have one without #2. Crazy free jazz stuff. And then also these were from Bop Shop. Original of Henry Texier, Amir, from France. Fantastic bassist, very original vocals. That's a VC favorite. And then also original of A Court at a Chris from Henry Texier. So those were all from Bop Shop. Next was another big one. This came from, I had to get this from Japan. But this is Kellen Phil Corrin Legacy, African Skies. This has never been reissued. Hopefully it will be. This is on Capture Records. This is one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever performed by mankind. Phil Corrin on harp, francophone and trumpet, congas, violin, guitar and flute. Unreal record. Another VC favorite. Next is a cheap record that I got because of Dave Wayne, and one of my favorite records of the year as far as finds. Claude Barthélemy won it on Encore on the Cobalt label from France, and Henry Texier is on this record. This guitarist is unbelievable. Very unique record. One of my favorite listens of the year, and this was super, super cheap. Like, I think it was under 10 bucks. Might have been like $8 or something. And because Dave Wayne's always doing the cheap heat videos. If you don't know his channel, check it out. Some more rare jazz, keeping it rolling here. Bernd Rosengren on the Harvest EMI label, Notes from Underground. This came from Sweden, probably from Top 5 Records over there, one of the big record stores in Sweden that I follow. And this is just fantastic. Free jazz as well. Difficult to find. That one's mint. Here's a record I got from Plastic Oddments on Instagram, which is Alex's sale page. Or maybe he might have actually just got after me about buying this one. But Pekka Pajola Haraka Bialapoku on Love Records, and this was famously sampled by DJ Shadow for Introducing. Fantastic stuff. Holy God, yeah, just brilliant bass, piano on this, soprano. Good stuff. Hard to find. Next, one of my favorite finds from Tip Top Daily Market this year. John Hassel, Earthquake Island original on, I think this is what, the Tomato label. And it's actually a original promo stamp copy. We lost John Hassel. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of great people this year. But this was one of my favorite finds. Just sitting in the bins, really cheap. Next, another big one from Sweden, rare. Again, I think Top 5 Records must have sent this to me. Ben Ernerd, Music. This is phenomenal on the Magnum label. Great piano on that. Original. Back to Noble Records. One of my favorite pulls from off the wall there this year. Original mono of Dexter Gordon, Dexter Calling. I never thought I'd own this record. And that's the, Micro Groove. This swings harder than about any record on Blue Note I've ever heard. Kenny Drew, Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones. Holy shit. What a monster of a record. This came from Lucas Liska, who works at People's Records. He is the man, great trumpet player in his own right. Jimmy Smith Live, Root Down on the Verve Records label, original. This has some of the most killer guitar on it I've ever heard in my life. This just absolutely throws down. And of course, Beastie Boys covered Root Down on the B-side. Or well, took the name, whatever they did with it. Another ESP disc favorite from this year is Karol Velebny, SHQ, with the craziest cover you've ever seen. He had been in a car accident and they went and they took this photo. That's really him, all destroyed from a car wreck, looking crazy. And he's goddamn naked on the back. But this is one of the best records on ESP disc. This is fantastic stuff. 1969. I think it's from Austria, if I recall correctly. Hell of a record. Next, this was a grail for me. I've been looking for this record for 5 or 6 years. Finally had to pull the trigger on ordering from Australia and ended up ordering from someone that was involved with the recording of this record, and that's Brian Brown, Bells Make Me Sing, on the Aya Recordings label. Yeah, I don't think this has ever been reissued. Fantastic jazz record. Brian Brown on soprano, flute, synthesizer, tam-tam, and bells. Jack of all trades. I like that way better than Carlton Streets. A few that I've recently shown, so I'll not speak too much about these, but the Bayard Lancaster Personal Testimony from 1980 on the Concert Artists record label, autographed by Bayard. Could be real, could be not real, I don't know, don't care. This is just solo stuff from him with vocals, everything. Really cool cover and a rare record. And then my two favorite finds from the Rochester trip: Music for Zaba by Johnny Diani, OK Tamiz, Mr. Feza on the trumpet, great trio. This is a U.S. original on Antilles. And then from Bop Shop was Woody Shaw, Blackstone Legacy, 1971 original on Contemporary, double LP, Woody Shaw, Gary Bartz, Benny Maupin, Ron Carter, Lenny White, to name a few. Extremely difficult record to track down. Show a couple 7-inches that were rare that I found this year. Teramaso Hino Quintet. This is from Japan. This is some funky stuff. Absolutely dope. I think this was done for a film. Not easy to find. Had to get that from Japan. And then this came from Angry Mom Records, where Dom, Seeking a Thread, works. One of the rarest 7-inches I've ever found. Albert Eiler, New Generation, Heart Love on the Stateside label from France, with the craziest cover you've ever seen. And then my number one grail for the year. Getting this video in 30 minutes somehow. This came from the Polish Mafia, and I couldn't be happier about having this record. This is just, I can't believe I'm holding it in my hands. Milford Graves, Don Pullen, Namo on the SRP Records label. Original pressing, thing of beauty. Live in concert at Yale University. This was my number one grail. So now I've got a new number one grail that's actually should be en route from the UK at some point soon. Hope you all made it through that. Those are the best finds for 2021 for me. Peace.